Hello, and welcome to another comparison video. Today we're going to be looking at how babies in the Sims franchise have changed over time, from those pixelated cradles of joy to fully animated Sims, and then back again. Babies have been an essential part of the Sims franchise since the very beginning. But how exactly have they evolved over the years? Let's take a stroll down memory lane and explore the fascinating history of babies in The Sims. As we know, back in the year 2000 when the original Sims was launched, we were introduced to a world where we could create families, build homes and live out our virtual lives to our heart's content. But when it came to babies, things were pretty basic. Babies in the original Sims were more like objects than characters. They arrived in a bundle of pixels and were confined to their cribs. No crawling, no playing, and definitely no cute baby giggles. Just crying, constant crying. Your babies tend to need attention every 6 hours, so get used to it. Your Sims could bring babies into this world in a few ways. They could perform a number of romantic actions that would generate the pop-up, ask if you wanted to have a baby. Or you could play in the vibrating heartbed. Just be careful what your Sims line up after they've had their fumble in the sheets. It can't have been that bad. You could even get a call asking if you wanted to adopt a baby. I'm not sure how it works in reality, but I'm sure there'll be a few more hoops to jump through than just answering the phone. As I've said, babies were mostly like objects in The Sims 1. They would cry when they needed something, and you just had 3 interactions to help them. You can play with them, which they absolutely hate, but the 2 more effective ways of caring for your baby is to feed them and sing to them, which you'll need to do to ensure your new bundle of joy doesn't get taken away from you. After 3 days of, let's face it, living hell, the baby will magically age up into a child. Despite their simplicity and how much havoc they cause, these babies were such an important part of the gameplay, and I think they really laid the foundations and set the stage for future generations in the game. When The Sims 2 was released in 2004, everything changed. Babies became so much more interactive and lifelike, and for the first time, players could see their Sims holding and feeding their babies. You could even change their nappies, though I think the less said about that, the better. As with the original game, there are a few ways to bring a baby into your family. Your Sims can now use the phone to initiate adopting a child, rather than just, receiving a call out of the blue. Or they can try for a baby in all of the same places they can get their woohoo on. And I think we'll save the evolution of woohoo for another video. This time, rather than a baby just appearing right before your eyes, your mother Sim will become pregnant and spend the next 3 days off work, and will have 0 bladder control and 0 energy until your little bundle of joy appears. We also get one of the Sims 2 classic cutscenes when it's time for your little one to come into the world. Babies are less like objects in The Sims 2 and much more part of the family. You'll have many new interactions like cuddling, feeding and playing, but be careful what order you do that in. I did warn you. You can also play with the baby when another Sim is holding them and pass the baby from one Sim to another. Or, more likely, leave the baby on the floor. Sims can also learn the parenting skill, which allows you to check in and see what your baby needs. When it comes to caring for the babies, it's much more interactive. You can bottle feed your baby anywhere in the house. They don't have to be confined to their crib. They also now need changing, which can be done on the fly or at the changing station. But if you've left it too long, you can just give them a bath in the sink, which can sort that hygiene need right out in no time. And so long as you've kept them fed, cleaned and watered, your babies will be ready to grow into toddlers in no time at all. If you were around for the Sims 2 store, you could get your hands on 2 unique objects, the Dangle Master and the Bouncinator. Both these objects just gave that little bit more depth to the babies, and it's such a shame it came towards the end of the Sims 2 life cycle. As we move into The Sims 3, it's safe to say that this game did a lot to take the Sims franchise forward. But the babies didn't get much of an upgrade, and if I'm honest, they weren't as good as they were in The Sims 2. When it comes to creating a baby, not much changes. You send your Sims over to their favourite woohoo spot and let nature take its course. Like The Sims 2, you could have your baby at home. Or, now we had the open world, you could head on over to the hospital to give birth. If you choose to go to the hospital for some reason, the mother of the baby will have a lower relationship when the baby's born. However, my absolute favourite detail in this game is when the mother goes to the hospital, if the father is at work or on another lot, they will go straight to the hospital to be with the mother. If you've looked after your sim and had a great pregnancy, you get to pick 2 traits for your new baby. Otherwise, they'll be randomly selected. Babies are selectable in this game, and it allows you to see what their needs are, and you have very similar options to The Sims 2 in cuddling and playing with babies, and it's also very similar when it comes to keeping them fed and all fresh and clean. There wasn't a changing table in the base game, but EA did later release one in the Sims 3 store, which, in my opinion, wasn't the best, as it was a core mechanic from the Sims 2 base game that was now behind a paywall. However, some of the new additions with babies is if a baby is crying nearby, Sims will get a negative moodlet. The evil Sims will quite enjoy the sounds of an unhappy baby, and may even take it a step further if they have the option to steal candy from that baby. You can now explore the vast open world with your babies in tow, adding new layers of realism. Your babies will no longer be made to stay at home, and with the introduction of the Sims 3 generations, we had buggies, whatever else you'd like to call them, which could be used for your baby's outings. We also got a rocking chair, but in my opinion it looks more creepy than cute. Throughout The Sims 3, I don't know about you guys, but I always felt like my baby spends more time on the floor than in their actual crib. And with the best parenting you can do, your baby will grow into a toddler in what feels like no time at all. And then came The Sims 4. The game brought significant visual upgrades, but we were all quick to notice that babies felt like a massive step backwards. Once again, babies were confined to their cribs and lacked the depth that previous games had built upon. They were more of a placeholder in the family tree, just waiting to grow into toddlers. Creating the babies were very similar as The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. Where there's a woohoo, there's a way. Your Sims can now also take pregnancy tests and then share the great news with their loved ones.
Quimble Reginu. Winoo-boo. Agonal.
Pleva.
And giving birth was again like The Sims 3. You could choose to have the baby at home or head on over to the hospital. You can send them alone, or if you have The Sims 3 Get to Work installed, you can go with them, but in my opinion it's quite buggy when you do this, so it's best just to settle for a home birth. When at home, the babies can't be taken far from their crib, but there are a few more interactions to give a bit more depth, as you can now breastfeed your babies, which in fairness is great when it comes to the realism of the game. However, at launch, there were no changing tables, and the babies could only be changed and cared for at their cribs. While I think we all appreciate the return of toddlers and the complex skills, but it felt like the babies were just flat out ignored. Our wishes were finally answered in 2023 with the long-awaited Infants update. This update brought a complete overhaul to the baby's life stage. The babies we'd had since launch were now referred to as newborns, and we had an all-new life stage. The infants. The infants are what babies should have been, and in my opinion, if you're looking for family gameplay, they are a great addition. Now they could crawl, interact with objects, and bond more deeply with their family members. It was a game changer that brought back the depth and charm players had been truly missing. With this update, babies are just no longer an afterthought. They're a fully integrated part of the family with their own needs, moods, unique personality traits. The addition of more realistic and engaging baby gameplay. You know, we got the milestones, which really makes the player spend quality time with their infants and not just leave them in the crib. All of this has added such new life into the game and brought The Sims closer to capturing the full spectrum of family life. I think in the end we got great babies from The Sims 4. So from the simple pixels to the fully animated infants, babies in The Sims have come a long way. Each game has brought its own changes, challenges, and innovations, making us all wonder what's next for the littlest members of our Sims families. So as always guys, thank you so much for joining me on this journey through the history of babies in the Sims franchise. And as I always say, I try to make these videos to the point and tend not to recover similar mechanics in later games, but please do let me know if you think I've missed anything at all. And as always, thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to leave me a comment and let me know what your most or least favourite thing about the babies in The Sims are, or just tell me about your day, as I love to read and reply to all of your comments. And if you really want to, you could even subscribe so you don't miss the next video, but I'll leave that up to you. And all I'll say once again is thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.